On KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and nbrradio.us. We got to bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also, streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website, the station that leaves no listener behind. That's right, we're here tonight live in the studio on the Farron Dozier Show. If you got to get out of your car and you listen to us on the radio, grab your device, type in KCAA Radio.com on your cell phone, your laptop, and click listen live or watch live so you can catch us no matter where you are in the city. Oh, and you can download the app as well. So go to whatever device you use, iOS, Apple, Android, and grab the app, and you can catch myself and all the other shows that are Monday through Friday or all during the week here on the network as well. All right, before we get into our guest, I see he's here. Very excited to have him, finally meet him and have some discussions about life, about our city. But before that, shouts out to the Inland Empire Hounds, brought to you by EQ Athletics, our company. We went 1-1 for the season opener. We won yesterday against the Legends, Sky Levy Legends, and then today we took a long time L from the San Diego Suns, used to be aka Chula Vista Suns. Lost by 3. Shouts out to the team. You know, no complaints. You know, just fundamental basketball. You know, you gotta protect the ball, good passes, and defense. You know, I'm old school, so defense wins games, man. So other than that, we got 18 more games left in this season. So we got all the way through March 1st. So we're gonna just make sure that Coach LG, shouts out to Coach LG, doing this thing and putting these players together to create this chemistry, so we can make it to the playoffs. Because at the start of playoffs is 0-0. Whatever happens during the season, that's our rankings. But at playoff time is 0-0, and then at that point, may the best team win. So 17-3 last year. So I have no doubt that we will pull it together as a unit, and just allow people to play their role, play as a team. I mean, all the stuff you see in basketball, right? That's just the way the ball bounced tonight. So close. 3 points. 3 points, man. We were right there. But yeah, great game. Shouts out to all the other teams that was out there at the jump off at the Nova Star Arena in Linwood. So yeah, if you want more information about the IA Hounds, go to IA Hounds ABA on Instagram. I will leak this real quick. There is a change coming. Okay, there is a change coming. Could be a name change, could be something changed, but there is a change coming. I'm gonna slowly deliver that shortly. But yeah, just make sure you stay connected to us. IEHounds.com if you want to be a part of us. You want to brand your company with us, support us throughout our season. We're welcoming all of your support, especially for the love of dogs. That is our number one campaign. Shouts out to my dog Daisy, who had to put down in 2022 and just never dealt with that grief. And so after we took over the Hounds last season, it was a great opportunity to give back. So we are supporting all, I won't say all, but a majority of the dog foundations in our county of San Bernardino, Riverside, surrounding areas of the Inland Empire. Looking forward to working with San Bernardino County Animal Care and all the other good organizations that I've reached out to. So we're looking forward to that campaign. If you have a dog, from dog breeding to grief counseling, of what's something that we want to support, and feel free to come and hang out with us. You can go to IA Hounds ABA to find out more about that, or go to iahounds.com, click the campaigns, and you'll see the campaign for the Love of Dogs. All right, so my guest is out in the city. So, how you doing, man? Let's just get
I,
right into it.
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for having me. And I just want to start off by wishing you and your team the best of luck this season. I was in wrestling, and so I totally get it. Having that competitive drive and making sure that you do everything that you can right at the very end. And
Uh huh.
it's kind of a turning point, right? Because the season starts ending, and your kids are tired, and everybody wants to push to the very end. But I'm sure with people like you and people like their fans, they'll get there, and that's exciting.
Yeah,
So
no, yeah,
yeah,
thank you for that. Yeah, like I said, it's the first two games of the season, so we got to figure out everybody's got to relearn each other. Got a couple new players, so these are just the growing pains. But we had a little high expectation, especially after winning the first game yesterday. It was like, okay, we beat one of the top teams in our division. The Suns is right there with us, so it was a good game. We did well, but thank you for that. So do me a favor, introduce yourself to the listeners and let's get started.
yeah, absolutely. So my name's Angel Ramirez. I'm a current board member, a board of trustee member on the Fontana Unified Board of Education. And so I was raised in Fontana my entire life, and luckily I get to serve the community that served me as a student and served me now as an adult. I'm a recent property owner, just bought a house with my beautiful fiance Audrey back in April,
Oh, all
and so
right.
that was exciting. Yeah, we're kind of putting our roots a little bit deeper in the city of Fontana, and just it's we're off to a good start. And so I've been on the board of education since last November.
Okay.
Got elected and got sworn in December, and so I'm almost kind of approaching the end of my year.
Oh,
But it's exciting. There's been a lot of great things at the Fontana Unified School District that I've been a part of, and I'm really blessed to have been there. And I'm just very grateful that you asked to be on your show because I know that this is a big deal for our residents in the community. So thank you for having me here.
for sure, man. Again, thank you, for your time tonight. I know you're traveling, so I won't keep you too long. But let's go back in time a little bit. Who was Angel growing up, man, as a young guy?
Oh man, Angel as a young guy. Okay. All right. So Angel's a young guy is a oldest brother of five
Okay.
to a single mom who is
Okay.
from El Salvador, who worked three jobs to put on food on the table. And I had to kind of step in really early and kind of be like a leader, right, for
Yeah.
my siblings. When money's tight and babysitters are expensive, and so I had to kind of step in and kind of fill that fatherly figure very young in my life and help make
Yeah.
sure that I can keep my siblings on the right path. And so that was young me. But as far as interests, I was actually in the marching band when I went to Fontana High School.
Oh,
I was
no
in the drum
kidding.
line. Yeah, yeah, I was actually drum captain for a little while. And I was on the wrestling team for a little
Yeah.
while. And so I did that as well. And interesting enough, it was actually the marching band that got my start in politics. Not too many people know that.
Wait, what?
And yeah, yeah, it was the marching band. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
we gonna touch on that in a second. Hold on, let's
okay.
go back. What do you want to say about
Yeah.
moms, man? Let's go to moms. What do you want to say about moms, man?
They are the most important people that we have in society. I love my mom. I love her to death. I would do anything for my mom. She
Yeah.
is a huge role model for me, seeing her, work through three jobs to put food on the table because she wasn't someone that said, okay, well, just because it's me and the rest of you, we're going to, kind of drag our feet. No, she said, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to put food on the table, pay the rent, pay the bills, make sure that if you guys want to be in sports, we can take care of that too. And she's a hardworking individual. And I know, moms out there all over the world, man,
Yeah.
we couldn't be here without our moms.
No, no
And I
doubt, no
feel like
doubt.
I feel like we got to appreciate them. We got to love them. We got to make sure that we're there for them as much as they are for us. And man, moms are so important. So any moms that are listening, just know you're appreciated.
For
And
sure.
even if your kids sometimes don't show it, I'm sure you're appreciated. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely that, man. Thank you. Shouts out to moms. I like how you said, growing up, as the oldest, kind of sometimes, us older children grow up a little bit faster than some, our younger siblings. How did you handle that? Becoming the man of the house at such a young age and taking that responsibility. People go different ways, right, in their life decisions because of those and because I put it the context this way, because we don't realize what's going on at the time as a child, right? So how did you handle that? Being that leader of your of for your siblings, and then maybe kind of missing out on some of your childhood time, if that.
You hit it right on the head. You got to grow up really fast. You got to become an adult really fast. And sometimes you're right. Being an adult now, later on in life, you look back and you reflect and you realize that there is a portion of your childhood that you missed out on.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't have kids yet, but I'm hoping that when I do, that I can give them kind of that life that I may have not had myself.
Yeah.
But when it comes to some of the sacrifices, like for me personally, um, you know, academics for me actually suffered a little while during this time because for me, I was that older brother that was asking my sister, asking my brother, "Hey, did you do your homework? Do you need help on your homework? What can I do to help you out?
Yeah.
Let me tutor you. Or you're struggling on math? Well, I'm good at math. Let me show you some stuff that I learned." And unfortunately, taking on that burden, for me personally, I didn't always have the time to get to my own stuff and get to my own
Yeah.
academics.
Yeah.
And for me, I was an AP student, and so it was really hard to juggle between having to teach my little brother, my little sisters, and stuff, and then at the same time have to do my own studies. So I'll just be completely honest. I wasn't like a straight A student.
Yeah.
I wasn't the greatest student academically, but I think a big reason for that was I had to give a lot of my time, my energy, and my effort to my siblings to make sure that at least they had some sort of structure when it came to their academics. So
Yeah.
definitely missed out on that. And as a teenager, you don't always have time to go out because sometimes you got to be home to take care of your siblings.
Yeah.
And so that
Thank
was
you.
probably another part on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that because I really want people, even us as adults, to look back and reflect sometimes that we might have to give our mom or dad some grace, right? Because we, as our brain developing, we may not understand what it is being an adult in those times, right? And like in my era of a latchkey kid coming home by myself in the third grade, my perception of time was just off. Like I didn't have any perception of time, and so thinking that I was abandoned or I was left alone, those are real life conversations that we have at such of those young ages, and we don't realize as adults that they do play a part on how we grow up and how we start to reflect even who we are as people. So I really appreciate you for being open and sharing that part of that conversation, because it's just as we get into the mental health conversations, this is going to be some of the groundwork that we talk about, right? So what do you want to say about your siblings? Let's keep it in the family. What do you want to say about your siblings?
Well, my brother, so he's just graduated from Fontana High School, and it was really cool because being on the board of education, one of the cool things we get to do is we get to hand out diplomas at graduation.
Oh,
And so
whoa.
I got to give my little brother his high
Come
school diploma.
on.
Coolest feeling in the world.
That's
Coolest thing in the
cool.
world. We got a really cool picture. Right now, he applied to be a cadet. He wants to be a police officer,
Okay.
and so he applied to be a cadet with the Fontana Cadet Program, Police Department Cadet Program, and so he's kind of waiting through the process for that. My sister, she works at a state farm,
Yeah.
and she helps with that. And my two little sisters, they're actually still students at Fontana High School.
Come
They are
on.
sophomores. Yeah, they're still
Come
there.
on. That's
They,
cool.
they yeah, they give me all the cheese, man. They tell they tell me, "Hey, I heard this happen. Hey, I heard that happen," and I'm like, "Well, it's cool too because you still get the eyes and ears on the pulse of what's happening with our students,
Right, right,
and you get it from a student perspective, which students a lot of time don't want to share with their teachers or parents what's really going on,
right,
right?
right.
But big brother, they'll tell me what's going on. And so yeah, it's really cool, man. And I'm blessed to be the oldest sibling of all of us, and just being able to see them grow and become into the young adults that they're becoming. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing, man. It really
Now,
is.
now I'm gonna go here because so, ladies and gentlemen, 99.9% of my conversations are organic. So I've met Angel in person, and here we are today. So I don't do research on backgrounds. I like to be surprised and authentic, just as you hear the conversations land for you, right? So is that conversation off the table, or do you want to say anything about that conversation?
No, I mean, I can talk about it.
Yeah.
I one of the things that I'm really passionate about is men's mental health. One of the
Yes.
things that I'm very, very passionate about, something that I wish we talked about more in society and we
Yes.
don't.
Yeah.
And it's one of those conversations that they're not very easy, which I think is why we don't have them enough.
Yeah.
And for me, not having not having a father figure early on in my life kind of
Mm-hmm.
took a really hard toll on myself,
For
on
sure.
my own mental health.
For sure.
And so for me, if it put me in a position to have to find male role models outside of, the family structure. And I
Mm-hmm.
found a lot of those through, like teachers and coaches
Mm-hmm.
and, people in the community that are serving that want to give back to others. And so, you know, just being black and white, I don't have a huge relationship with my own biological father.
For sure.
But I will say I got plenty of fathers because I got a lot of male role models that were out
Yeah.
there that helped me in my young journey and still help me to this very day. I got a lot of great mentors, and God's really blessed me with having people in my life that aren't perfect, but are
Yeah.
people that made mistakes that can teach me from, and I can learn from their mistakes so that I don't make the same ones.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to have so many amazing males in my life that have helped shape me into the man that I've become today.
Yeah, I again thank you for expressing that because that is something that I hope you and I get to have some of these kind of hard conversations because it's so important for the foundation of our young men to find that person or find that role or a pastor or a coach, but at the same time we still need to be able to deal with whatever that is inside of us, right? So that we can be free from that story of that biological father. And I tell people, I had my dad was there, but I had two stepfathers and my grandfather. But I always yearned for my biological father. So that child is always going to look for that father, right? And at best, we can help soften the heart of that child, that person our age, right? So that they can find some peace in that conversation, right? And be free from those stories so they can create their own life, right? And have some peace in that. So I appreciate you again for saying that. Do you think joining the band or the wrestling did that help your identity in that as well?
Oh man, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. Because when you're in the band, a lot of people don't think about this, but those shows you see out in the field, they take hours.
Mm-hmm.
They take many many hours. You're rehearsing 3 days a week, 4 hours a day, and then on Saturdays you're there about 10 hours, maybe sometimes 12 hours. You're putting in a lot of time, but you're also working with a lot of different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
You're working with a lot of people that just have different backgrounds, come from different paths of life, and you have to work with everybody. But something that we always say in the band community is you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways that you strengthen that is you got to build everybody up. You got to help empower people, and you got to make sure that you're not only a leader for others, but for yourself. Because in the band activity, we tell ourselves, your biggest competition is not out there; it's in you. You are your own biggest competition. And when I was in wrestling, that was the same thing because it's one-on-one sport. You're going up against another person, and even though that other person is your competition, if I don't practice, if I don't put in the time, if I don't put in the effort, if I'm not grinding it out, then I'm only going to lose to myself too,
Yeah.
right? But when it comes to that, that absent father component, it definitely does play, I think, a little bit of a role because you got to learn how to also deal with other men. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you don't have that fatherly figure there for you, it could be a little bit tougher to transition into that.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, like I said, I had some great coaches, I had some great teachers that were there for me that helped square me away. Because I'll just be honest, I say this all the time, I wasn't the nicest kid. I mean, I got in a lot of trouble. I got in
Yeah.
a lot of trouble, man. I did a lot of stupid stuff when I was younger.
Yeah.
And but for me, it's having people that are there willing to have an honest conversation, be like, hey man, you're messing up. I realize why you're
Exactly.
messing up, but you got to shape up and you got to change that. And
Exactly.
so yeah, man, it's definitely, I think it took its toll, but I think it worked itself out. I'm here now.
I
So
mean, yeah. I mean, look at you now. I mean, like I said, this is the beautiful thing as we share and for people to listen. You might start in life one way, but we're not chairs and tables. We're human beings, and our brains are malleable. We can grow and develop and change and learn, right? And so you can make those corrections. It's never too late, in life to make those corrections. you know, I was in a band as well. I don't. I went to Fairfax High School. I played in the band, played timbales for a little bit, but then I just
oh, okay.
I went to go work. I was like, my parents would give me like $2 a day. I was like, this ain't no money. Let me go find a job. So I gave up basketball. I gave up the band and just went to work doing was a work experience. I don't have
How was that
a
for you? How was
You
that for
know,
you transitioning into the work? Because I mean, that must not be easy at a young age. How was that?
I started working at 16, man, and it was only because, again, as our childhood decisions, I wanted to buy certain tennis shoes, and my mom wouldn't buy them. So I said, when I
Mm,
get a job, I'm buying tennis shoes. And so I went to work at
mm,
16, just to buy the shoes that I wanted. But looking back at that as well, it's like it goes back to that peer age identity crisis. You want to fit in, and you got your parents are not buying the shoes that fits the crowd, and so you're like, we make these decisions of whatever, and mine was to go get a job so I can have the clothes and the shoes that I wanted, and yeah, it didn't last that long anyway.
dude, you know what? It's something that I didn't realize until you get older, but your shoes as a teenager, it really does play a big. For me, we couldn't afford like Vans, right? We couldn't
Right.
afford anything, and I still remember the day I got my first pair of Nikes, man. And you know what? To this day, I don't even know if they were real because I got them at a swap meet. I got them at the
Right.
Fontana swap meet, and they were like a size smaller than what my shoe was. I'm like, screw it, they're Nikes. I'm gonna get them,
Right.
and like it makes a big deal, man. It
Yeah.
really does. It makes
That's
a big
that's
impression
that
at a young age.
that's that teenage that sense of belonging, man. We want to
Yep.
belong, and we'll get into that in the conversation too. Lastly, with the sports, before we transition to the next conversation, your mental toughness. What do you equate your mental toughness to growing up? Your moms, the coaches, the band, the wrestling. We're looking back now. Let's talk about mental toughness.
Oh man, mental toughness. I love that topic. By the way, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
For me, mental toughness, it is all about not giving up.
Mm.
It is all about always picking yourself up and fighting those inner voices, those inner demons that keep telling you,
Mm-hmm.
give up, stop. And you got
Mm-hmm.
to be able to fight that and tell them, no, I'm going to keep going. Because for me, like everything that I've done, it has not been easy. Nothing has been easy. Growing up with a single mom, being on wrestling, being in the band, being in politics is definitely not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and there's going to be many times where you want to give up. It's going to be many times where you're going to feel like it's not worth it. And there's going to be many times where you're going to be tired,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to be able to fight through that. Because I truly believe in that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
It is 100% true. And you look at some of the most successful people in the world, right? Some of these businesses, like you look at companies like Apple, for
Yeah.
example, right? It started in somebody's parents' garage,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it didn't even have initial buy-in. People weren't investing early on, but those guys didn't stop. They kept going, they kept going, they kept going, and now we have Apple, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one of those things that in life in general, life is not easy,
Yeah.
right? Life is not easy. And if you think it's easy, you signed up for the wrong program because you're going to find out real quick that it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to mental toughness, especially like for young guys,
Yes.
because I know my brother, for example, I talk to him a lot about this kind of stuff. I didn't grow up. I'm not part of the generation that had TikTok early on in like high school. That wasn't
Right.
me, right? And I know a lot of young guys nowadays kind of they call it brain rotting, or they're
Mm-hmm.
just like doom scrolling forever on their phone.
Yeah.
And for my little brother, for example, I try to pull him out of that as much as I can. I'm like, dude, let's go on a run.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go to the gym, lift some weights. Like let's go on a hike. And I think that stuff like that, it transitions into so many different aspects of life.
Yeah,
Because
for
I got to
sure.
tell you, man, like even on the school board, there's been a couple times where there's just some decisions that we're making. That I'm like, man, this is a hard decision to make.
Mm.
Like I really need to think through this, through what we're about to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just give up. I got 32,000 kids in my school district that rely on me, and
Woo.
3,000 teachers that rely on me. And I got to make sure that when I'm making those decisions, that I'm doing it for them.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to mental toughness, man, yeah, just for anyone listening, it's just about never giving up. And for me, it's also about a higher purpose.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about religion on
Of
your
course. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
okay.
For sure.
Like for me, man, I owe it all to God. And for me, sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm human. There's times where I don't want to keep going. There's times I
Yeah.
want to quit. There's times where
Yeah.
I'm like, this ain't worth it. Man, I tell my fiance all the time. She's probably listening. I wish I just had a 9 to 5 job. Sometimes,
Right?
like I should have signed up for that. I'm like, dang, that would have been a lot easier. And but I pray on it, and I really, sit with God for a little while, and I ask myself, Lord, why did you put me here?
Yeah,
Why am I doing this? And through prayer, it always figures itself out.
oh, for sure.
And so, yeah, man, that I think with mental toughness, find a higher calling, give it a purpose, and never give up. That's really what
Yeah,
it's all about.
yeah. And again, it's so important to be able to have those kind of conversations, especially for our young men, our teenagers. Even I'm 55, so we can go up up the direction into the 70s, and we can go down as far as 8 9 years old, right? So those are the conversations that I saw, when I kind of saw the stuff that you talk about. Those were the things that I was like, yeah, I definitely want to see what he's about, because these are some serious conversations that we just can't dance around. There's these people's lives at stake, and and here you are in the school district, right? And having to be able to help move those teachers and students along the way as those students transition to their next life, because they're going to be the ones coming up behind us, taking your job, right, and taking the teacher's job and things like that. So I appreciate the work that you do, and for the most part, I want to find out. You said that you got into politics from the band. Can you touch on some of that transition?
Oh yeah, man. It's actually I think it's an interesting story. Um, I when I went to high school, right? I went to the school called Summit High School.
Okay.
That's where I
Oh
started my
yeah, you're
freshman year.
definitely from the area for real.
Yeah, I'm from the area. Grew up in Fontana. I'm telling you, I'm from Fontana, man. And I went to Summit High School. I was in the band there, and Summit's a newer school. At that time, it had just opened,
Yeah.
and they had brand new uniforms, brand new instruments, brand new everything, man. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is nice, some nice stuff.
Yeah.
Then I went to Full High. It was not the same experience. Uniforms were dated. They're from the early 2000s, like 2002,
Yeah.
maybe even late 90s. Actually, no, the instruments were from 2002. The uniforms were from the 90s,
Right.
and I remember thinking to myself, man, this is like night and day over here. What the heck? And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, we're the same school district. What the heck? Why do they got way nicer
Oh
things?
yeah.
That makes no sense,
Yeah.
right? And so, man, I gotta tell you, part of having a single mom is when you're asking for stuff, you better really want it, because if you get told no, you're gonna get told no.
Yeah.
And so I remember going to the band director, Mr. McDuffie. He's still there, which is really cool. He
Oh
is still
wow.
there. I went to him and I said, Mr. McDuffie, what's up with all these instruments? They're all dented and broken. And at first he thought I was talking trash, like, oh, Mr. Summit over here. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm just trying to genuinely figure out what could we do to get better instruments. Like, who could we call?
Yeah.
And he tells me, oh, you got to talk to the principal. The principal's the one that has the budget. And here I am, freshman year. I think I'm like 13, 14 years old. And I'm like, all right, sure. He probably thought I was never going to do it. So
Yeah.
on my lunch break, I go talk to the principal, Filio Hinojosa, who just retired last year from Full High.
Mm.
I go to her and I tell her, hey, Miss Hinojosa. She's like, yes, young man. I walked in her office, dude. I'm telling you, her secretary wasn't there. She was there. I walked right in there. I said, Miss Hinojosa, I'm Angel Ramirez. I'm in the band. I went to Summit freshman year, and it's not the same here. And she started laughing. And
Ooh.
she goes, tell me, what's not the same? And I told her, I said, well, for one, we have some old uniforms. And for two, we got some old instruments. They did not have old uniforms. They did not have old instruments. And
Yeah.
she tells me, well, young man, she's probably upset. Like, who the heck is this kid coming to my office
For
doing this?
real.
Yeah, she tells me, young man, I have a budget. I operate on a budget. And unfortunately, I don't have money for uniforms. I'm sorry.
Mm.
And so I ask her, what can I do? Like, do I gotta go sign a petition? Do I gotta go like talk to who do I gotta talk to
Right.
get money for
Right.
uniforms?
Right.
And she goes, I've never had a student come march into my room in my office and demand that they get something for their activity. And I told her, I'm like, well, I'm that student now, and I guess we're starting something new. What can I do to get new uniforms? And she goes, look, if you go to a board meeting, that board
Oh.
meeting's on Wednesdays. There's a school district, and they have a school board. And on that board, there's 5 people. They're the ones that help make the budget happen for all the schools in the district.
Wow.
If you go to them and you tell them what's going on, maybe my budget might get a little bit bigger next year for some band uniforms. I'm like, that's it. That's all I gotta do. Just gotta go talk to a board. And she goes, yeah, if you do that, they might listen because they don't listen to us adults, but they listen to the kids.
Yeah.
So I got myself, my friends, the band boosters, the band director, and we went to the next board meeting. And I went up
Wow.
to, yep. And I'll never forget this. I went up to public comment. I was so scared, man. I gotta tell you, I can still feel the nerves to this day. I still remember my hands being clammy. They were sweating. I felt like throwing up. I didn't want to go up
Right.
there anymore.
Right.
And I told myself, all right, I'm here now. All these parents are here. My buddies are here. I can't chicken out now. It's too late. It's
Yeah.
showtime, right? And so I walk up. I prepared a speech. I read my speech. And when I turned around, I'll never forget the look on everybody's face on that board. None of them seemed to really be listening. I remember that very
Mm.
specifically, except for
Mm.
one board member. She's now my colleague on the board. That's board member Sandoval, board
Come
member Mary
on.
Sandoval. I turn around thinking nobody listened, nobody cared.
Yeah.
And she goes, young man, can you please come back? And she even tells her colleagues, I know I'm not supposed to talk to them, but I really want to ask them some questions. Is the board
Wow.
okay with that? And the board said, yeah. And she said, young
Wow.
man, how much are these uniforms? How much will they cost? I'm like, I don't know. My band director's here, though. He could probably answer the question. And I called him up to the podium. He's like, Mr. McDuffie, can you come here? And we want to ask you some questions. They asked him, how much would these uniforms be? He says, $40,000.
Mm.
They're expensive. And I'll never forget, she turns to the board and she goes, we're in a surplus this year in the budget. We just
Mm.
actually went over the budget not too long ago. I think we can afford these uniforms.
Wow. Angel.
And I don't know what happened, man. Next year, out of nowhere, we have brand new uniforms in our racks for the
Come
marching band.
on. Come
And I
on.
don't know. I always tell Mary to this day, I don't know what conversation you had with them, but it worked. And that's what got my start was just knowing, man, if you just speak up for your truth and you speak up for things that are going wrong in the community and
Yeah.
you advocate for them, it really is as simple as just using your voice, man, and really just trying to be that mouthpiece for the community. And that's what got me triggered, man. That's why I want to get in government. This is so cool. I really want to get involved. And that's what got me going was some marching band uniforms. Yeah, man.
You know, in your share, and thank you for sharing your story, because as I listen to you share, and I listen to choice of words, right? I'm a listener. Practice listening. That level of confidence, courage. I don't like resilience, but I like perseverance. Which one of those would you say that you had to become to push yourself to get to that point, to get in front of that podium? If
Oh man,
in your
100%
language,
perseverance.
yeah, in your language.
Perseverance, man. For me, I think I think it took a lot of courage. I really do because I was a shy kid growing up. I gotta tell you, I know the way I'm telling you this story is like, man, he kicked down the freaking principal's door and like asked for these uniforms. They went to the board meeting. I did that, but I was faking it till I was making it, man.
Yeah,
I was terrified. I'm telling you,
yeah,
I still feel the fear in my bones
yeah, yeah,
from that story.
yeah,
And but for me, it's really just about doing the right thing. It's really just about making sure that you do the right thing for the people that you care about, most importantly.
yeah.
And for me, the people that I cared about was my marching band community.
Right.
And now it's just transitioned into, the community. And so I think it just really takes, it takes willing to say the things that not everybody always wants to hear because everybody wants to paint a picture that we live in this world where everything's perfect, but it's not.
Yeah,
And you got to address that sometimes to really make a change.
yeah,
And so I think it took a lot of that. It took a lot of courage. I was terrified. I was
yeah.
absolutely terrified to go talk on that dais.
I
So,
again, because even today in my what's next after retiring from the military for 24 years medically, not by choice, and then becoming the sickle cell trait advocate, right? A lot of times, even today, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I still wake up like nobody cares about this conversation, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, why even bother? Go do something else. And then someone collapses and dies, or some athlete has a complication. Then I'm reminded, hey, I'm standing for not just Farron, but this community of people, right? And so I appreciate, I hope that, even us as adults sometimes that what's next for us is something that we care about outside of us, right? And a lot of times you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not experiencing being fulfilled, right? Because we do want to be a part of a community and we do want to stand for something, I you got to be able to rediscover that sometimes. And I want our younger generation the same thing. You may have to be the one to make that stand, to take that step forward, to move those conversations forward. And you know, you come from a background. You just said your mom came from you're from Guatemala, right?
No, El Salvador,
El
but close
Salvador.
nearby.
Yeah, no, thank you for correcting that. So, and so you have a lot of that, in your family line of transitioning, coming to this country and for opportunity, right? And so we want our children, our young adults, to, hey, you know what? It's our turn. We could sit here and complain about the past and slavery and all the stuff that happened, but we're the answered prayers from those conversations. So now it's our turn. What do you want to say to your school district, young adults?
Man, I love that you're saying that. I love that you're saying that because, for me, one of the most important things that we have in this country is that we have the opportunity to go vote. We
Mm-hmm.
have we have that right to go vote, to go share our decision and who's going to represent us and who's going to be in holding offices to make decisions on our behalf. That truly is a democracy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And for me, for the younger generation, it's all about making sure that you do not stay home and that you go out there and exercise that right. Because I love history, but history has taught us that this country for many, 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 many years
Mm-hmm.
was broken and was on
Mm-hmm.
the wrong side. But those people who had the courage, who were willing to say what needed to be said, and were
Yeah.
willing to go out there. And people, I really wish that people took this a little bit more serious because when I hear young people say, "Well, I'm not going to vote," it doesn't matter. I mean, my vote doesn't matter. It's like, do you realize that people have died for that right?
Yeah.
That people gave their lives for you to have that right for you to go vote. People have lost their liberty. We're given prison sentences back in the day
Yeah.
so that others can exercise that right to vote. And for me, the most important thing is don't just sit home and complain about it.
Yeah.
I see people all the time saying, "Well, I don't like this and I don't like that. Let's start a rally. Let's start a protest. Let's go and march." But they won't go to a ballot box
Right.
and fill
Exactly.
in a bubble and sign the back of an envelope.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about this country is that we're a democracy. We have that opportunity to change the world around us through a piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah.
That is what this country is built on. And so for the younger generation, what I want to say is don't stay home. Don't feel like you don't matter to the point where you're going to not do something about what's going on in your community, and
Yeah.
pay attention to what's going on in your community, because if you see something that you don't like, call it out.
Yeah.
Make a statement. Say, "Hey, I don't like that," and get enough people to change that. And guess what? The thing that you don't like will no longer be there, and you can help spark that change. And
Definitely, like I said, it is our turn, and I look forward to having, like I said, some of these conversations with you, as we move our community forward, right? Because it's so important, so important. I guess I want to ask you personally. I'm not into politics, but some of the concerns is, when you put yourself out there, right? And the again, whatever that is, confidence, courage, um, charity, to wanting to give yourself away to a cause. Was that difficult when you really got in the thick of that? Like, how did you handle that whole process? If you could share that real quick.
man, that's a really good question. You're coming back with just great questions back to back.
Yeah,
Oh,
I want to know
man.
about your life, man.
um when you're in the thick of politics, because how you see what's going on in the news, you see what's going on social media, we've become so divided in
Mm-hmm.
so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone to a point where, if you're a Democrat, you can't even talk to a Republican, and if you're a Republican, you can't even talk to a Democrat, right?
Right.
And we're now living in a country where it's almost like we've created two sides. And for me, you know, I think what gets me through it is reminding myself what our founding fathers really fought for, which
Mm.
was there's only one side, and that's being an American. That's the
Yeah.
United States. That's being part of this story, this long, long, long experiment that
Yeah.
we've had for over 250 years. That's what this is about. And for me, what we really need to focus on is on the conversations that unite us rather than divide us.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to find common ground because, I'm a local politician, man. When it comes to school board, I'm in local politics, and you know, I but when it comes to a lot of what's going on, I think on the national level, that's what people really, really pay attention to.
Yeah.
And I think that, man, I hope I don't get canceled for saying this, but I think that people need to realize a lot of their elected officials on the national level want that.
Yeah.
They want to keep people divided. They want to keep people from not having conversations with each other because guess what?
Yeah.
When it comes to election time, it makes it a lot easier for them to say, "Hey,
Yeah.
my side is more angry than the other side. You guys need to come out and vote."
Yeah. And
And
that's wow. You touch on some of the stuff that we talk about even in our curriculum of helping our community and veterans and youth. It goes back to that sense of belonging, right? So
Mhm.
I gotta have you come in person, man. So whenever you have some time to sit down next to me, I'll make some more time for you. Lastly, before I let you get out of here, you know, is there something that you want to say that maybe I missed that you want to just share with I'm a Fontana resident myself, right? So what do you want to say to the Funtucky folks?
well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm actually here for a work event that I got to go
Yeah,
to tomorrow, and so I'm really appreciative that you're willing to be flexible. I'm happy to sit next to you in person. More than
yeah,
happy to have that conversation, that dialogue in person. But to everybody in the city of Fontana, all I want to say is keep trying to give back to the community that you belong to,
yeah,
because that's truly what's going to help make our city grow, and that's truly what's going to help keep our community together. And what I also want to say is I know that with a lot of what's happening with the ice stuff, I know what's happening out there.
yeah. We didn't get even a
People
chance
are,
to touch on that.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll touch on that again another time.
people are really scared,
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate that we're living in that kind of world. But all I gotta say is, just keep your head up high. Find that sense of belonging. Don't be scared,
yeah.
and just make sure that you always do the right thing. And I'm very grateful that you had me on your show. So thank you so much.
No, man, Angel, thank you so much for your time tonight. Again, thank you for taking that time out. I know you are on your trip, so we'll reconnect again, and then we'll just work it out in the future.
All right, brother.
All
Take
right,
care.
take care. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening in to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. We're going to play one of my PSAs and then come right back with my special guests on the phone lines, Mr. Taylor himself. Shout us out. What's the count? Hey, I'm Sergeant First Class Farron Dozier. I'm here at the military base, and I have the sickle cell trait. Now, why I got involved is I experienced what they call sickle cell trait exertion. And I was doing the Army physical fitness test, the 2-mile run, and when I got done, I collapsed. A lot of soldiers and athletes have been dying on football fields and running track, and the family members have no idea that they have the sickle cell trait gene or that it's a trigger. So my purpose is to mobilize the community so we can find out what's in your genes. How will life be if we could prevent another child from being born with sickle cell trait or disease? And if a child was born with the trait or disease, that the family members would have the education, awareness, and resources in every city that they lived in. So tune into our webinar series and find out what's the count. What's the count? What's the count? What's the count? welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Again, streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website, the station that leaves no listener behind. Shouts out to Angel Ramirez for being on the show. Definitely looking forward to some more conversations with him as we just take on these discussions that we've had so far tonight to continue those for our next generation of our children and for us adults. There's a lot of stuff, and for men, right? There's a lot of things that are going on that they're not tough conversations. They just need to be had, right? And I'm willing to take responsibility for those conversations. I've done my own work for the last 15 years. I can articulate it. There's no right or wrong or good or bad. It's just creating a space for us as men to have a conversation and express where you are without being judged, without any slander. Nobody's going to tell your secrets, right? But there's a conversation that needs to be had, right? So we're going to put a pin in that topic. My guest tonight is on his way overseas. He played with us last season on the Ventura County Orcas. Had some interesting conversations throughout that last season, man. How you doing tonight, Taylor?
Hey, man, how you doing? I'm good, man. Good. Finally glad to get across to get on your show.
Man, long time coming. You, too, got to come
sure.
here and sit next to me. It's a different experience when you're on the deck, so.
Yeah, that's next. That's next for sure.
So do me a favor, man. Introduce yourself to the listeners out here in the IE, bro.
Hey, IE, man, I'm Taylor Tittle, all the way from Los Angeles, California, reporting live. Played basketball for Farron's Orcas, Ventura Orcas last season, and I'm on my way to Bangkok, Thailand to go play professional basketball now.
Man, again, congratulations on that. As we, he was at the game today, so we saw each other earlier, and just kind of chopped up a little bit of it. But that's the dream, right? That's the stepping stones from playing basketball as a very young age as a child, and then playing all the rec leagues as you can to get that opportunity to play at some level of ABA or overseas. And so you're in the process of having that overseas career, experience. What's going through your mind, man, as you prepare to take off?
Oh man, everything, excitement, nervous. Just hoping that all the hard work that I put in, I can finally put it on display and show that I belong, so that I've proven myself. And yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm very excited and anxious for sure.
Yeah. How does your immediate family feel to see you take on this next level of professional basketball player? What are they saying to you?
Oh yeah, they're proud. They're for sure proud. They know how long I've been working towards it, how long I've been wanting this, how long I've been just grinding. So they're proud and happy for me, and can't wait to see me succeed and do what I do.
Yeah, as you step into that experience, looking back on the young Taylor, what do you want to say to these younger athletes, man? That even in your age category, right, that are still having that desire to go play, overseas for that experience. What do you want to say to them?
Oh, man, first off, don't give up. Keep working, keep grinding. Whatever level you at right now, you're not meant to stay there. Just elevate your game. Keep working. Lock in the gym. Don't worry about the outside noise. Don't compare your path to your friends who also hoop and are probably already over there. Just lock in on yourself. Give yourself up to a year or however long the season is. Just lock in. Yeah. Stay in the gym. The more reps you put in, the more you build your confidence. And when you build your confidence, it'll show when you play. And scouts, coaches, they'll see that. They're like, oh, he has confidence when he plays.
I appreciate you pointing that out, because as we've had our conversations last season, that trip to Arizona, like we knew that it was needed for us as a team, right? To whatever came out of that weekend trip, we all walked away with a different level of connectedness, right?
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciated your conversation, because you and I kind of care about the same types of things as far as the society and your education background. What do you want to say about what you see going on in the world today, based off of you about to go overseas, the United States, it's at the state it's in right now. Anything you want to
Oh
drop
man.
on that, man?
Yeah, yeah, just be mentally aware of where you at, like where you at in life. Like, don't be like fooled by the AIs and all these social media posts. Do the research if you're really into what's going on in the politicals and the government and what Trump is up to. Make sure you do your research and don't just be listening to what people are saying
Yeah.
and stuff like that for sure. Yeah, because it's a lot with this AI stuff and social media. Like, I know it's hard to tell what's true and what's not. So you definitely have to do your research.
Yeah, like again, you touched on some hot points that we probably discuss another time, but I got my ideas about AI, and like you said, you just have to, you got to be able to test your reality up against something outside of yourself, right?
Yeah,
Whether some kind
for
of
sure.
principles, like you said, do the research, study, you can't let your perception get in the way of that, because there's so much stuff, going on in the world right now, and it's on the attack of us as people,
Yeah,
and as Angel was saying earlier, it's dividing us as a people. It's already bad enough that men and women are trying to figure out how to hang out with each other in
yeah,
relationships, and then you add all this other stuff on top of it, man. So again, man, I'm very proud, that you definitely grew. I think all
yeah,
of us, not that I think, but I know that all of us grew from that Orcas experience, right? And then
yeah,
you
for
having
sure.
that ability to take that experience and then move it forward, to now, man, an opportunity to
Yeah,
go
definitely.
overseas. Like that's big
Yeah,
time, bro. That's serious.
yeah, no, it definitely is. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was definitely a mental thing that I've learned over the year being with you and the whole Orcas program. Like, it was more so mental, my mentality
Yeah.
versus the skill I had. So yeah, I had to lock in on that too for sure.
Yeah, man. So, anything you want to say, man, before I let you get out of here? We about to wrap up the episode tonight, so I just want to let you say your piece, man.
Oh yeah, just yeah. For those who listen, all you young hoopers, like I said, stay locked in, get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Anthony Edwards said it too. Greatness is boring. Just being in the gym every day, doing the same thing over and over to get good and get to get better at it. It's definitely boring, but you gotta love it. You gotta enjoy the process. Stay uncomfortable. The more uncomfortable situations are, the more of a better person to make you. That's go for basketball and in life in general.
Yeah.
Also, a huge shout out to Farron and everything you're doing with the radio station in the IE, how connected you are to the community. I mean, I don't know too many people who are tapped into the community like you are, man. So
Thank you,
big
man.
up, giving you your flowers now while you're still alive, man. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing for sure.
Appreciate you. I'm gonna open this last door for you. What did you see for the Hounds, man? Give me some critique. Well, I know what I saw. What did you see from tonight's game, man?
Tonight's
Come on,
game, I
let us.
think it was too much crying about the refs about fouls. Um, yeah, outside of that, it's just I just think certain shots that y'all normally probably hit just wasn't going. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if
for
the
sure.
athleticism
Yeah,
of the Suns was just a little too much,
yeah,
but yeah, they was. But when they put that pressure back on you, like normally y'all pressure people, but when they put that pressure back on y'all, it kind of seemed like I didn't want the pressure a little bit.
yeah. I think we saw some of
But
the same thing, right?
yeah, so that's what
Yeah.
I kind of saw. But y'all gonna be good, man. Y'all definitely gonna. Y'all, no, that's just this is just the beginning of the
Oh
season. It's a
yeah.
long season to go. Y'all gonna be all right.
Oh
Y'all gonna be
yeah.
straight
We
for
got
sure.
18 more games left, man. So,
Yeah.
much success to you on your trip. Make sure you
Thanks.
tag us in some stuff, man, so we can make sure that we keep an eye on you while you're on your journey, man. And just thank you for, again, just your kindness, and just who you are as a person, man. It was a pleasure having you on the Orcas, and hopefully when you get back in town, we could talk about some more next level stuff. So,
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. I got you. I'm gonna let you know as soon
yeah.
as I know.
All right, man. Thank you.
I
All right,
appreciate
take
you.
care.
Take care.
Oh, hey, Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Give me your Instagram so they can follow you. Give me your Instagram real quick.
Instagram at Tay the Truth. TA 3 Ys the Truth regular. Tay the Truth is the Instagram.
Cool, man. Thanks for tonight, man. I'm gonna tag you in some stuff so they can follow you.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Take care.
All right. This is the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Again, WDCOandSCT.org for more sickle cell trade information. You want to know what I'm about in the community, at Farron Dozier on all your platforms, and FarronD.com for more information. Shout us out, what's the count? Appreciate y'all.
KCAA. In these trying times, many people are depressed and lost because the future of our society is up in the air. If you're turning to substance abuse because you're feeling there is no hope, we have a way for you to see the light. SAD, or Stop Abusing Drugs, is a nonprofit organization that will help you at no cost to you stop abusing drugs. Founded by Tony Navarchi, SAD will refer you to the top detox doctors in your area.